Another day, another Miata review, this time in the form of a base model 2022 ND2. I've always really loved the ND2 Miata in terms of its driving dynamics as long as it's modified properly. The stock car, even with the optional Bilstein dampers, just has way too much body roll. It's so soft and floppy in the corners, which at times can be fun if you're looking for a whimsical driving experience, which is what even the original NA Miata was known for, and largely why it was loved and still is loved to this day by thousands of enthusiasts. But for me, someone who likes to drive really hard, either in the canyons or on the track, I always wanted a more planted, stable, and confidence-inspiring chassis setup. So that's where cars like this one come into play. The owner, Garrett, has modified this ND2 base to be an autocross and track car. Nothing too crazy in terms of the mods, there's no aero. In fact, from outside, this car looks mostly stock. But the mods he chose for this car are really meant to improve the overall driving feel and confidence that it gives the driver. But this is an ND2 Miata base model, as I mentioned, aka the Sport trim. That means it didn't even come with an LSD. It came with the smallest brakes, the worst seats, and the softest suspension. But that made this the perfect platform for tuning, and that's exactly what Garrett has done. He's replaced all of those weaknesses of the car. So we've got an OS Giken Superlock 1.5-way LSD, Feal coilovers with 10K front springs, 6K in the rear, Progress sway bars, front and rear, Wilwood Dynapro 6-pot front big brake kit with 12.88-inch two-piece rotors. These are absolutely massive. Didn't even know Wilwood made a 6-pot caliper for this car. We have some very aggressive G-Loc pads, R12 front, R10 rear, and Garrett is currently running his street wheel and tire setup, which are 17x7 Enkei PFM1s with a very mild tire, a 205/45 Pirelli P Zero. For sound, we have a Goodwin Superstreet exhaust. We have some mild camber, 2 degrees up front, 1.9 in the back with 0 toe front and rear. And we have these Momo seats on PCI rails and a hard dog roll bar. Very simple mods, basically the bare minimum plus a few extra bits to make this car autocross and track capable. Original MSRP, Garrett said, was just under 30,000, maybe 28 to 29, which, you know, compared to something like a club trim with the Brembo, BBS, and Recaro package, this car saves you at least $10,000 and gives you arguably a more effective platform for tuning, since you can just replace all the weak OEM parts to a level that should be even higher than the club with BBR package. I really love the seating position with this Momo seat on the PCI rail. Being the older ND2 generation, not the facelifted ND3, this has the smaller infotainment, and being a base model, it doesn't have the body colored panels on the doors. The only challenge with this bucket seat is that you kind of have to T-Rex the controls for the infotainment. But all of that aside, let's drive this Miata and see if reasonably budget-oriented mods can make the ND2 a blast to drive on a canyon road. Of course, we're powered by a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder engine. It's naturally aspirated, makes 181 horsepower, 151 pound-feet of torque. Because this is the base model and he's taken out the stock seats, this should weigh around 2,300 pounds. This Goodwin exhaust definitely opens up the sound of this engine a lot. I really like it. It's mild, but aggressive at the same time, just the right balance. Good brake feel with these Wilwood 6-pot front brakes, G-Loc pads. Oh yeah, that little bit of rotation on not even full throttle, partial throttle, that feels great. OS Giken LSD, the gold standard. Car is just a joy to drive. These Feal's coilovers doing a great job. The body control is so much better than stock, even compared to the OEM Bilstein damper setup. Such a huge improvement. And the Progress front and rear sway bars, the car corners way flatter. but not overly flat. It's not overly stiff. You still feel the chassis move around in the corners, which helps you predict what it's going to do next. Love the way this little engine revs out to 7,500 RPM. This suspension is a little bit stiff for this very bumpy road, but I can tell on track this would be really impressive. 10K front spring rate, 6K rear. It's not really a street setup. Wow. This diff, I love the way it locks up mid-corner as you apply throttle. It's very progressive and controllable. Even just these little amounts of slip make the car that much more enjoyable. These tires are not high grip at all, but the benefit is that we can actually feel the car move around, and we don't have to go as fast to feel the balance of this car, the balance that Garrett has achieved here, which is excellent. Woo. Oh yeah, love that throttle steerability. Any understeer that this car exhibits can be neutralized with just the throttle, or the steering wheel. Ugh, I'm starting to sweat. Good steering. Not as good as the ND3 revised steering rack in terms of the load-up behavior, but still very good for an EPS. Man, the brake feel is so good. It's almost OEM-like, but just that little bit better, a little bit more bite, a little bit more pedal feel. When I say OEM, I'm referring to the optional OEM Brembos. Oh yes. Getting into a groove with this ND2. Low torque engine, so you really have to rev this thing out. You know, at speed, the suspension, although it is stiff, it still soaks up the bumps, like that one right there. You do feel a lot of vertical motion, but it's a one and done. It doesn't do multiple oscillations before it settles. Just really good stuff for a fairly budget-focused coilover, less than $2,000 new for a set of Feals. Pretty impressive. This car overall is very impressive. Highlights for me include things that Mazda already provides from the factory. The excellent electric power steering rack, the super slick 6-speed manual, the lightweight chassis with front engine, rear drive dynamics, the rev happy little motor, and then you add on the Wilwood brakes, this amazing OS Giken 1.5-way LSD, the Goodwin exhaust that lets you hear this engine so much better, and of course these Feals coilovers that completely transform the handling of this car and how confident it makes you in the corners. I would love to take this car around a racetrack or even an autocross course. It's just that communicative, nimble, and just frankly a pleasure to drive. ND2 Miata, base model. This is the way to go, guys. If you're gonna build your car for the autocross or for the track, base model and then throw the right parts on it. Forget the stuff that Mazda offers from the factory. I mean, the Brembos are good. The Bilsteins are still garbage, as is the base suspension. The Recaro seat's not bad, but it still sits a bit too high. And for serious track work, if you're cornering on 200 treadwear tires, still not enough bolstering to really hold you in. And let's not forget the LSD, the OEM Torsen diff, does a fine job if you're running lower grip tires, but the moment you put track focus suspension with sticky 200 treadwear tires, that stock diff is going to start to struggle. Garrett has solved all of those issues here. The seat, the diff, the suspension, and to some extent the brakes, it's not overly harsh. From outside, it barely even looks modified. Gotta love that. So big shout out to Garrett. Let me know what you think about this philosophy for building a dual purpose Miata, starting with the base model and addressing the weaknesses using high quality aftermarket parts. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.